welcome back to No Idea, the podcast where you have no idea what we're going to talk about, and we have no idea how it's going to go. I'm Jenny, I'm back. It is season 2, that's right, entitled Pulling Weeds. So thank you so much for tuning back into No Idea. I'm here with one of my favorite people who I met, how many years ago was it? 2.
I think so.
It was about 2 years ago. And her name is Liz. Liz, say hello.
Hello.
That's her voice. Okay, guys, I have always thought this ever since I met you. I was like, her voice is like butter. It is just so smooth. Like, not obviously like a stick of butter, like melted butter.
Wow, that's
it's
the
just
first.
so smooth. And like, you listen to her, and it's like, just keep saying more words, because it's just so nice to listen to. So I hope you guys also experience that and enjoy her voice as much as I do. But Liz, tell us a little bit about yourself, okay? Who is Liz Dorsch? Go ahead.
First of all, thank you for having me.
You're welcome.
That's the first someone's ever said my voice sounds like butter. Okay, so I am 26. Fun facts, I guess, about me would be I like sushi.
What kind of sushi?
Oh gosh. I'm just kind of like, the tuna roll.
Classic.
I'm really simple,
Okay,
you know?
yep. Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'll go outside and try different things, but I always refer back to the tuna roll.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know. I love sunsets.
Oh, yeah.
Do you like all of my photos on my camera
Mm-hmm.
are like sunsets? Funny thing is, there's like so many pictures on my phone that I need to sort through that I have no space on my phone anymore, so.
Ooh, same. But mine aren't sunsets. What are they? Are they sunrises? No. I guess mine is just people. Oh my god. Every time I'm with people, I'm like, I just want to take a picture, remember this moment.
Right, and then you feel bad about deleting it, and you're like,
yeah, and you feel and you're like, okay, nothing personal, but I need more space. Okay, so Liz, what are you doing in your life right now?
I'm currently studying in intercultural ministry and early childhood education or development, sorry. And I also I was overseas last year in Chiang Mai, Thailand, doing internship, and now I'm back in the US. I had to come back about 7 months out, and so now I'm here currently in the US continuing ministry.
All right. So your plans were not exactly as you thought they would be.
No.
I mean, that's pretty common narrative nowadays.
Yeah.
But
for most people, yeah.
What is the wildest thing you've ever done? Just to get to know you a little bit more.
I would say, okay, so when I was in the Philippines, my brother and I actually went on one of those, so when you go to a theme park and they have like that huge parabola where they like shoot you down, it's like this huge swing. Well, they had this one in the Philippines, and we literally it literally was so terrifying because when they were pulling us up, the height of it was at least 200 feet.
Oh my.
And so as they were pulling us up, my brother was like, oh my gosh, what is this thing made out of? Bamboo and dental floss? And I was like,
That's great.
I
hope so.
I was so terrified. It was so crazy.
Wow. But you lived to tell the tale. I'm glad you're still in one piece. Well, okay. Guys, I wanted to have Liz on this podcast, and I said, Liz, if you could teach the world one thing, what would it be? And she said, are you ready for this? This is quite profound. Okay. She said, the sanctity of the relaxed grasp.
So good.
That is crazy. And this is a concept that we have heard at our college that one of our teachers taught on once. And he was basically just saying how, like, we don't have control over everything that happens in our lives, right?
Right.
So if we just go into life having a relaxed grasp and, like, trusting the Lord instead of just clinging on to things so tightly, then we will not only just enjoy life more, but have a more peaceful mindset. We can go into things knowing that, they were never once ours. Everything belongs to the Lord, and He's sovereign over everything. So your plan, Liz, was to go to Thailand for, you said 16 months, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that is not what happened. So how did the sanctity of the relaxed grasp impact you right in that moment?
That's really a good question, because so when I had received that news that we were being pulled off the field, I, in that moment, was like, it was hard to take, for one. Like, this was no perfect process. Mm-hmm. And I think one thing I should say before even going into this is helping people understand that it's important to give yourself grace when mm-hmm. learning the sanctity of the relaxed grasp. But before even receiving the news, I was praying to God that before that day, and I was like, Lord, I don't want to leave. So mm-hmm. this is me like holding on to the internship or my time overseas. I didn't want to leave, and I was holding on to that. I was like, Lord, I want to be out here. I don't want to go home. Mm-hmm. And I just felt like this was the plan that I held so tightly to. It was a blessing that God, even gave me. So I was holding on to that blessing, that opportunity, so tightly. I was like, Lord, don't take it away from me. But then the very next day, I did receive the news. It just came like right out of the corner, mm-hmm. very early in the morning. And I had all this leadership in front of me. I had my team with me, Oof. My site leader with me. So mm-hmm. I didn't feel comfortable, like, just bawling out all of my feelings.
Yeah.
I received
with
the news.
reason.
Right. So my knees, I saw all leadership in front of me. Like, it was just through a Zoom call, obviously, because they were mm-hmm. Zooming us through from the U.S. And so my leadership was all, like, coming onto this call, and I started to get really nervous because mm-hmm. in the pit of my stomach, I knew I had a strong feeling of what was about to happen, mm-hmm. and my knees were shaking. I literally was trying to control the nervousness in my body, the mm-hmm. tension, and so I took that, like, I was just like, everything was knocked out of me. I mm-hmm. was like, how is this being taken away from me, when I felt like this was something the Lord gave to me? Because it's a very confusing, it's very confusing at first when things are just out of your control, because you're like, you don't know what to do. It's like being cut from right on, your mm-hmm. legs cut from right underneath you. So in that moment, I had to like just take it in. Yeah. And I know it's like kind of cliche when people say stay cool, calm, and collective, mm-hmm. but that was literally what it was, me being cool, calm, and collective, and allowing chaos to happen while I was sitting at the eye of the storm mm-hmm. with Jesus, and being like, okay, just like mm-hmm. trying to observe everything that was happening, what's being said, what had to happen in that moment at the time. And then we received news that we had only 24 hours to pack up all of our stuff. Wow. Like, our whole entire house. Uh-huh. And so my team and I were all like looking at each other like, this is so crazy.
We're like, is this your duffel bag or is this mine?
Right. And so yeah, we were just like, okay. And at that moment, we knew as trained missionaries that complying to what needed to be done in an emergency. Mm-hmm. The funny thing is that we had this whole contingency plan, and even when we do have a plan, like, sometimes we don't even go off that plan.
That plan wasn't even followed.
Right. And the funny thing is, even in our internship, or beginning of our orientation, mm-hmm. our site leaders was like, don't worry, if an emergency happens, we have this contingency plan. But when this whole thing happened with the COVID,
like, forget the plan.
Yeah, we were like, screw the plan. Like, we have to, like, literally think off our feet now.
Yeah, wow.
And so no matter how many different plans we make, mm-hmm. even for an emergency in life, sometimes things have to go. Sometimes He's got you working off, just working off your feet. It's just like, so mm-hmm. yeah, that was very hard for me mm-hmm. to take.
Yeah. And we've all recently, just in the past few months, we've all received some kind of news to varying degrees like that, where it's like, oh, all right, there's a pandemic going on. Did not plan for that.
Right.
That's all right. And it's thrown off some of our plans, you know, in major ways or in minor ways, like, oh, I just can't go to the store whenever I want now, or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like this is something that we've all felt in some kind of way. Right. And if we are not personally deeply impacted, it's impacting, like, our family members, our friends, etc., people we know. Mm-hmm. And so I think that's part of the reason why this concept to grasp is so important, because, okay, besides the pandemic, you cannot plan for all of life. You know, there will always be things that pop up that you're like, oh, well, I didn't see that coming. Because we don't have, you know, future events in our foresight. Mm-hmm. And even if we think we know what's coming, you know, it's all up to the Lord.
Right.
Basically, because he's sovereign over everything. And so I actually just read something. So I have a problem with finishing books. A side note. I started the book Love Does by Bob Goff years ago. And then I didn't finish it. But this summer I was like, this is my year. I'm going to finish that book. And so I finished it. Praise the Lamb. But Bob Goff is a lawyer, and he writes about how when he's questioning people who have been convicted with crimes, he makes them sit facing him in their chair with their palms open and on their knees. And so he said that this is like science. It proves that, like, when your hands are like that in front of you and open, your mind is more open, and you're more willing to tell the truth, instead of, like, if your arms are folded, if your fists are clenched or something. And so he knows that he's more likely to get the truth out of whoever he's questioning, right, if they're in that position. And so that's just so cool how the Lord created our bodies in a way that certain positions, like having our palms open, is a way of us being more open as people, and as a way of us just holding things loosely and not grasping things, and so that we can be more open. I think that's so amazing. So
yeah, definitely. I would say that science shows that, like, even with, like, the just like
your
positioning,
body posture,
positioning your body in a way where, whether it's even, like, if you're going in for an interview, like, you know,
you do the Superwoman pose before you go in. It increases your confidence.
It does, like, straightening out your shoulders, looking bold and feeling confident. Like, stand tall, and just position yourself in confidence and be like, I got this. Really puts you in that position where you're like, yeah, I do got this. But if you're, like, slumped down, like, really position yourself where you're like, you know, and it's the same thing for life, you know. That's really good.
Yeah. And so as we were, like, discussing this beforehand, and I was talking to you about whatever you wanted to share on this podcast, you mentioned the story of Abraham and Isaac when the Lord asked him to sacrifice his own son.
Right.
And I felt like that went along with your experience so well, of how you even mentioned before, like, I felt like this was a blessing that God gave me, and then I was asked to give it up. And so how did that feel for you, and how did you cope with that?
Yeah, definitely the story of Abraham is such a great example of this relaxed grasp. Because what we're doing is we're sacrificing our plans, we're sacrificing the blessing that was given to us, and not taking it for our own. And the reason why I want to explain, like, the concept of letting go and holding things loosely, whether it's blessings or things in our lives, our plans, whatever it is. Holding life with a relaxed grasp is allowing God and the Holy Spirit to move freely in your life.
Yeah.
But if you have a tight grip over it, it's not moving. It's you're holding on to it, so God can't take from it freely and bring out greater things or do greater things through it.
Or, like, he will, but you won't see it as, like, a good thing. Right. You'll say, like, oh, you're messing up my plans. But he's like, no, what are you talking about? I'm doing something better. Just watch.
Right. And so it's almost like we have this glass of water, and, you know, God wants to pour more into it, but you're like, no. And God's like, no. Or you're holding on to this teddy bear behind you or you're holding on to this teddy bear that is, you know, your favorite teddy bear in the world that God gave you, but then God's like coming around. He's like got this bigger teddy bear behind him that he wants to give you, like just a bigger blessing, or just, you know, he wants to do more. He wants to bring more abundance in life. And so so you're asking how that is.
How did you how did that affect you, and how did you cope with that?
Yeah. So while I was overseas, like, it affected me in a way where I had to learn, like, and I say I had to learn because it wasn't a perfect process.
Yeah. It also wasn't a choice you had.
No, it wasn't. Yeah.
I guess you could have just sat there and pouted and been like, no, this just sucks, and I'm not gonna change my mindset, and this is just the worst. But you didn't do that.
But even if I did, like, because, you know, sometimes this is a brand new concept to people. Like, what? Like, I don't understand. You know, we go through that. Even if we had those reactions in the beginning, we can catch ourselves and be like, you know what, that wasn't the right posture or right response or, you know, reaction to the whole thing. And so it is a learning process. But for me, it was like, it was hard. I had to take a couple breaths. I was numb for a long time. So the messy process of being like, you know, I grieved, and I went through this messy process of grieving and just being angry with God, and having to I was like just going through letting it go and just venting about things and complaining even. But at the same time, the Holy Spirit was constantly reminding me and convicting my heart and saying, hey, you know what? Look, like, it's going to be okay. Like, this was no surprise to God, and He's got it all in His hands. And so I really was blessed by allowing God to then, once I put myself in that position you're talking about, just having my hands open and being like, Lord, you know, like, I literally, like, who was I was like, I was stupid to even hold on to it for any longer. It was like, I don't have control over anything.
Yeah, you never did.
Never did. And never, you know, like, and there's a reason for that. It's because, you know, we're humans. God sees everything before us. And so it's like, okay, you know, like, I have to be humble and just humble myself before God and just allow Him to work. And so He's brought so much blessing in me learning through that, and also accepting what was happening, and just being like, accepting His plan over my plan, over His thoughts over my thoughts, and just humbling myself before Him.
That's good. And we always feel like, especially, I feel like in America, there is this pressure, I'm sure in other places too, but, you know, we have experienced it in America. There's this pressure as we're growing up to know what our next few years will look like, what our next step will look like, what our major is going to be, what type of life we want, all right now, you know? And I feel like we live under that pressure a lot. In reality, we actually don't know, and our plans can change. Like, and God's not mad at us when they do. He already knew the outcome in the first place. Right. So the only thing that we get mad at really is ourselves most of the time.
Right.
It's like, oh, I didn't see this coming. Well, the thing is, we're not supposed to.
Right.
It's like, all right, just chill. But what are some of the steps, just to wrap this all up, what are some of the steps that we can take to have this open grasp and not hold on to things so tightly? Because sometimes we think that if I just hold on to this, everything will be okay. What we really need to be holding on to is the Lord, because He doesn't change. Right. So what are some steps that we can take when plans change a lot and we feel like the world has just turned upside down under us, you know?
I definitely remembering first that this is not a perfect thing. It's not like practice this practical or do this and, you know, you'll be professional at it. Like, it's a hard thing to learn and accept. And so while practicing the sanctity of the relaxed grasp and holding your life and everything loosely and allowing God to move freely in your life through the blessings that you have in life, to have grace with yourself and learning that, because a lot of times we can really be like, wow, really hard on ourselves and be like, oh man, I didn't have this, right the first time, and
Yeah.
maybe God, it's just like God is so patient with us.
Mm-hmm.
Remember that God is so patient, and He knows what's going on in your heart. He knows that why you're holding on to it so tightly. He knows why it's hard for you to let go. And so by having grace with yourself and allowing God to have grace over you and being humble before the Lord, and just practically, I would say, definitely get yourself in front of God in that moment and be like, Lord, ask the Lord to help you walk through that.
Mm-hmm.
Because you can't go through life without God. Like, He's the one who's going to help you have that comfort and that strength and that peace to go through that process and really understand how to receive and let go of blessings in life freely. So
yeah, that's good stuff. And the thing is, this is not a perfect process. It's not a formula. Like, with everything that changes in life, because there are so many things, the process will probably look a little bit different for every person in every situation.
Right. Mm-hmm.
But like you said, the key is to get in front of the Lord, because He's the one who brought that change. He's the one who can change you in the midst of it. Mm-hmm. So thank you so much for sharing on No Idea, Liz.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, I loved your butter voice. Okay, thank you so much, everyone who is listening, for hanging in this far. We hope this really helped you, and we pray that you can just take every change that comes into your life and just maneuver it with grace and with the Lord, because He's the one who brings it and takes it away, and He's in control, and He's got you. So thank you so much, Liz. Thank you, listeners. All right. Signing off. This is No Idea Podcast.